Hello and welcome. You are watching Business Plus here on News9 Live. I'm Krishnakumar, and joining me in the studio is my colleague and friend Kartik. Malhotra. Kartik, great to have you in the show. We're going to begin, as always, the afternoon edition of Business Plus with a roundup of India's stock markets, which have closed up in the green for the day. Kartik, Sensex up over 400 points, Nifty at that 19,550 levels.
Absolutely, Krishna. I think good day for the markets. Nothing to really complain about. Markets opened well. They had a strong run through the day. Nifty and Sensex both closed off the day's high. Nifty holding well above the 19,500 level, just a tad short of 19,550. Sensex, on the other hand, has had a good bull run today, a good 400-point surge, ending the day with about 16,600. We haven't seen the same momentum, unfortunately, in the small cap stocks, in today's trading day. And this has been a fairly volatile segment of stocks. We've seen, massive correction happening in small caps. Now, I think the day's trade was largely set in the morning when US closed well last evening, our time, and that sort of had an impact on the Indian markets, on the Asian pack per se.
And of course, Asian markets also closing with modest gains, also helping the close of Indian markets.
And I think a massive gain today in the banking stocks, Bank Nifty up, substantially. So overall, I think a good day to be in the markets and nothing really to complain about.
Nothing really to complain about. IT stocks and financials doing well in trade for the day, Kartik?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think financials definitely. IT stocks have also been all right. Nifty IT not as high as the Nifty Bank Index, but Nifty IT also holding on to its levels. And overall, we've seen a decent day for markets. And the news really that markets would be awaiting is 10 a.m. tomorrow when RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das starts the announcement on the MPC decision on rates. I believe the markets would have taken in, whatever they seem would come out of the MPC, and most analysts, most economists feel that a pause is going to continue. But we've also had some voices coming in fact, on our show itself yesterday, suggesting that there could be a rate cut as well. That view not echoed yet by anybody else, but let's see. It's definitely not going to be another hike from what it seems, because inflation numbers have come down. But would the pause button continue to be pressed, or are we going to go backwards onto a rate cut is something we'll get to know tomorrow morning.
All right, and there you go, gainers and losers. The big gainers, Nifty Bank Index, Nifty IT and Nifty Auto, IT and financials, top gainers in trade today. Nifty Media stocks, Kartik, incidentally, up over 1.5% as well in trade today. We're talking about voices and talking about what is going to happen forward. Are we looking at a rate cut? Are we looking at a hold? Let's get a fresh market voice in. Joining us live on the show, Mr. Aamar Deo Singh, Head Advisory of Angel One Private Limited, joining us. Mr. Aamar Deo Singh, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on Business Plus this afternoon. Talk to us. Sensex up 400 points. Markets also reacting to news on crude set to come off its highs as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say that markets were looking for a pullback, and what we were seeing is that some of the heavyweights in terms of Reliance, HDFC, we've seen some sort of selling pressure there. But again, they were approaching very crucial support zones. And as you rightly said, that crude oil prices seem to be cooling off. So that's one definitely a thumbs up for the markets if it remains that way. And also technically anywhere between 19,200, 19,300, that was a very strong support zone for Nifty. So close to 19,300, we saw Nifty pullback, and today was a I would say very positive day in that regard. And also, if you look at the overall breadth of the market, we see advances in 2:1 in favor of the declines. But the key point here is that what we are seeing technically on the charts is that there could be some consolidation. Also, we have the MPC. Their report and the view coming out tomorrow as far as the interest rates are concerned.
And what is your view before you move any further? A hold or a cut? What are you expecting?
A cut seems very unlikely. So it could be a status quo, but what is going to be more important is that what's the forward-looking statements, or what are the statements which the RBI is going to come out with as to how it's going to, because this is going to be a tough time for any central bank, because inflationary concerns are definitely there. So we'll have to wait and watch. And markets have been anticipating on similar lines. So having said that, I would say that technically, be it Nifty, be it Bank Nifty, we are seeing some sort of consolidation and some sort of a pullback from the levels, but
Okay.
shouldn't read too much
Is that
into it.
consolidation also applicable to small cap stocks? Kartik here was talking to us about how huge correction in small cap stocks in today's trading session. Aamar, I was asking that with you. We were talking about how small cap stocks have seen a correction in today's trading session. We've seen a huge run up in small cap and mid caps, even when the broader markets weren't performing all that well. So are we in consolidation mode as far as small cap and mid cap stocks as well?
I would say looking at the small cap index, the 250 clearly shows that upside seems to be capped at the moment, because some of the technical indicators are clearly showing that a double top formation is there on the cards, and higher levels will be sold into, because if you look at across the small cap or the mid cap, we've got multi-baggers, we've got phenomenal, spectacular returns in many of the stocks. So profit booking, and also there's some concern with regard to the strengthening in the US dollar. The rupee, however, has maintained I would say a fairly strength, maintained a fair degree of strength, not reaching the 84 mark. But if you look at the dollar index, that's breached 106 level. So that clearly shows that there are concerns with regard to the overall global economy, not much in particular with regard to Indian economy, but global economy. So that's having some rub-off effect across different segments. And as far as small cap, mid cap is concerned, we could witness some profit booking around these levels, or at the most consolidation.
Okay.
So strengthening of the dollar, Aamar, is that going to now translate into money moving back into the US markets and perhaps at the cost of Asian markets, including India?
See, what happens is that as long as there are serious concerns with regard to the global risk factors, which are playing into the market. So from that perspective, dollar has been gaining significantly. So if I look at the dollar index earlier was unable to breach the 105, 106 level. So now it's trading above that level. So that clearly tells me that there is this move towards less riskier asset classes. And also, if you look at global markets, they've given some very good returns. So there's also a profit booking that's happening. And also, I would say that if we continue seeing dollar index moving higher, and if you look at in correlation with gold prices have also witnessed a significant correction. So that clearly tells me that there is some reduction in the risk appetite of investor community at large across different asset classes, and that's being reflected in the dollar index gaining strength.
Okay, and talk to us about where you see crude headed from here, because we've seen crude prices also being fairly volatile. I think just a few days ago we were talking about crude likely to touch $100 levels.
Absolutely.
And today we are seeing a massive correction in crude as well, trading below $85 a barrel. So where is crude headed from here, and what is making it so volatile, apart from what we know, the production cuts which are expected to become even deeper? But is there anything else which is moving crude right now?
Because the way it looks, we need a separate crude volatility index. Like we have a volatility index for the Indian stock markets.
Yeah, rightly said, because crude oil prices, if you look at the Brent crude, it had rallied towards almost 90, 97, 98 levels, and currently it's around 85, and the correction has been quite steep. So more or less with regard to, I would say, global concerns, and also with regard to cooling prices, because earlier there were concerns with regard to supply side being in a tighter position. So it's more of, I would say, some of those concerns are tapering off, and also what we are seeing is that there could be some signs of profit booking also happening in this crude oil market, because the way crude oil prices have rallied from almost 75 to 95, and that also within a very short span of time since the start of July, and in the first week of October, we've seen a significant rally. So it's more or less some sort of correction. Technically, if you ask me, it shows that there could be consolidation. Upside seems to be capped at the moment. 90, 95, $100 would be a crucial zone of resistance. On the downside, yes, if I look at Brent crude, somewhere around 80, 82 is a very strong support zone. there is a possibility that we could see a pullback from those levels.
Okay, and let's talk specifically on stocks that were in action today. And if you look at the top gainers, let's start with the gainers. I think it's always good
I was
to
about
start
to
with
ask
the
something. The big gainer for the day, you're talking about the top gaining stocks.
Absolutely.
Right. The Bajaj Auto, L&T, M&M, Titan and TCS, Kartik.
Absolutely. So L&T, I think a robust order book is definitely something which has kept the stock really in the green today. M&M on the back of good auto numbers, but those numbers came 2 days back. So I'm just wondering, what is driving M&M and Bajaj Auto today? Aamar, do you have a view on these?
Yeah, so if I look at M&M, we're seeing that the stock has bounced back, and there is some I would say some temporary respite, because earlier Mahindra and Mahindra, we saw the stock witnessing some correction, and then there is a pullback, but it's more or less consolidation that is happening there. Talking about the other stock which you mentioned, Bajaj Auto. So Bajaj Auto, we've seen I would say the stock is still trading at record highs, almost close to record highs. And if I look at from a short-term perspective, 4,800, 5,000, that's a zone of support for the stock. On the upside, resistance is around 5,200 levels. And if you look at the data also, which is coming out with regard to the auto sector, that has been extremely strong and positive. And also going forward with the festival season, expectations are that this trend would continue.
Okay.
So I think these factors are definitely playing out a positive.
Any long-term view on both Bajaj Auto and Mahindra, given this entire shift which is happening towards electric mobility?
Right.
We haven't really seen too many announcements coming after the XUV 400, the only electric vehicle from the Mahindra stable, and very little news coming in from Bajaj on its EV plan. So long-term, how do you see these two players really holding up?
I would say long term, if you ask me, Bajaj Auto is definitely on any significant correction. One should look at a buying opportunity in Bajaj Auto, because they are also looking at diversifying their portfolio, and definitely EV is the way forward, because currently if you look at the percentages and 5 years down the line, the percentages are going to be multifold. So in terms of the EV penetration. So those companies or those automobile companies who would be able to capitalize on that, they stand a better chance and a better opportunity, and Bajaj definitely could be a winner there.
Right. I wanted to check on the other big gainers as well. Some famous stocks like Titan, like TCS, like L&T. When we talk about blue chips and Mr. Junjunwala's favorite stock as well. So talk to us, what is exactly moving these classic stocks up in trade today?
Yeah, so looking at first Titan. So Titan again has been, I would say, a significant wealth creator. It is witnessing some sort of consolidation currently, because it did make a high a few days back, all-time high, I would say, somewhere around 3352, and currently it's around 3200 odd levels. So that's a minor correction. But if you ask me from a long-term perspective, see what happens is that Titan is very much into a branded segment, and they've got different lines of their products in terms of jewelry and other products. So the demand for that would only increase going forward. Yeah, there would be some, I would say, setbacks if economy doesn't perform, or there's some hit on the global economy or the Indian economy. But overall, if you ask me, it's all a mindset change which India is witnessing, and that's likely to grow further with regard to brands like Titan and other, I would say, brands which are offering you.
Looking at the board, yeah, go ahead, please, Amar.
Yeah, and also Titan is also because gold is also a very important part and raw material in there. So gold prices would also be very closely looked at by Titan, and how they hedge their gold is also of importance.
Fair enough. Gold prices have been under pressure recently as well. It's probably playing into the rise up in Titan stock, Kartik. But at the end of the day, IT stocks did well in trade today, and clearly one of the top gainers was TCS.
Absolutely. So TCS also up. I think you look at that board of top gainers. It is almost like soul food. It's a low action day. Macros are good. Fundamentals are good. Not too many news triggers. What do I buy? Hey, let's go and buy these 5 stocks. This is soul food. This will always hold me well.
Yeah, so, there's no chance of going wrong with those 5 5 stocks on the board. I just want to stick with the gainers before we go into losers. Mr. Aamar Deo, we saw the media pack gain over 1.5%. In fact, that's the pack that gained the most for the day.
On a day that World Cup actually starts, and there
Exactly.
is a 2,000 crore rupee ad revenue up for grabs.
Yes,
So
yes.
is that driving it? I don't know what's
Exactly.
driving it.
Is it Cricket World Cup that's driving the rise in the media pack?
Yeah, I would say if I look at the media stocks somewhere or the other, we definitely that's going to be one of the factors which is playing on these markets, and also we are seeing some sort of positive trend going forward also. But at the same time, I would suggest that one should look at booking profits also, because most of these are trading at significant resistance levels. So from that perspective, one can look at a profit booking opportunity in the media pack.
Oh, okay, so different kind of an opportunity with the World Cup for media stocks. Kartik, it's time then to shift focus away from all the gainers to all the losers in trade today.
Absolutely. Let's move to the losers. I think we've seen Power Grid, NTPC do government-led enterprises down in the red. Top losers today. We've also got Hindalco, Cipla and Nestle India surprisingly being among the most, biggest losers of the day. So Nestle India, what is your view, Amar? What is pulling down Nestle today?
Which stock you mentioned?
Nestle India.
Yeah, so if I look at Nestle India is more or less witnessing some sort of consolidation, because it witnessed a significant rally, and currently we are seeing some sort of profit booking happening in the stock, because yesterday was a day of extremely heavy volumes compared to the average volume. So that clearly tells me that a lot of selling has happened yesterday. And that is close to the zone of, if I look at the resistance zone, so that's around 23,300, 350 zone. Currently it's around 22,900 or so. So it effectively means that more profit booking is happening in the stock, and one should look at, if one is long on the stock, one can look at booking profits in this particular counter.
All right, and talk to us about NTPC Power Grid. Power generation seems to be in trouble this in today's trade.
Yeah, see, NTPC was clearly displaying that the bullish momentum with the stock. See, the stock had a dream run, because earlier the stock was, if I go back in time, so the stock was unable to breach the 150, 180 levels. So as recent as, I would say, June first week, the stock then started rallying above 180, currently it's around 233 odd levels. So the long term, if you ask me, the long term trend remains extremely strong and positive for NTPC, no doubt. Short term, we are seeing some sort of consolidation, some sort of profit booking. And so on the downside, if you ask me, somewhere around 220 would be a level. 215, 220 is a zone of support for NTPC. And technically and otherwise also, the stock was looking for some sort of correction in terms of profit booking.
All right,
And the
just one last thing we want to check with you, and that is on the pharma pack. You saw Cipla emerging as one of the top losers in trade today, and the pharma pack too was down in the red for the day. It's a pack that's done so well. Pharma stocks have done so well over the last 6 months or so. What exactly happened in the day's trading session?
Yeah, I would say that if you look at Cipla, you rightly said that Cipla and most of the pharma stocks had a really good last few months, and Cipla from 900 to almost 1300 level, currently around 1160. It is clearly in I would say, more or less a consolidation zone as far as Cipla is concerned. On the downside, 1100, that's a level of support. Again, on the upside, 1300, the recent high that it has made. So what it effectively means is that the top that Cipla has made, that's not likely to be breached in the near term. So it could be more of consolidation happening in the stock. But yes, a very good buying opportunity would be around the 1100 levels.
Right, Aamar Deo of Angel One there, joining us with the wrap-up of the day's trading session, help us understand what exactly went on in India's stock markets. Amar, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here this afternoon on Business Plus, and hope to keep having you on the show again and again. With that, we wrap up what the day's markets were, the trading session was.